We are at the 4:57 mark. I actually had to ask my Raiders Nation fan to leave the stadium to be able to come join me. That's right, Manny, we are back together again. It's been a few weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Fan Zone. You got the M&M show right back with you. It's Manny,
Yes, sir.
it's Mike. We are here. We are ready to go. Now, Manny, before we get started, and we got a couple of minutes to let everybody come in, I got to give you a huge shout out. You held it down while I was out, man. You held it down. I had to go pick up a new car, with the adulting, with trying to maneuver two kids. So I had to go travel, but I was watching, and you held it down. You didn't even let Carl speak, which I love. Not having to hear Carl for a show is okay with me. But you and Rick talking soccer, it's not my big entity.
Football. Remember,
Football.
man.
That's right.
Come
My
on.
apologies. Football. As you can see, I can't even say it right. But
I
it is,
appreciate that.
you
Appreciate that.
did,
Shout out to Rick Etienne and for Carl Boss, man, coming in. Appreciate the
absolutely.
assist.
And speaking of boss man, I think to start our show today,
35? 35?
I think he's either 35 or 36. He might be 36. He might try to be staying at 35, but to our man, to
Boss
our
man.
creator, the maestro, the man behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, the man that does it all, Mr. Carl Coulange. We tip our hat to you and
Salud.
wish you a happy birthday. All the best. As they say, we hope you are doing some comba dancing. You are maneuvering around. Don't get too drunk. It is a weekday, but please celebrate. We know Deb's probably got a great celebration planned for you, but we say blessed and a blessed happy birthday to you, Carl. And with that, Manny, what's going on, my man?
Yeah, let me tell you. First off, it has been a very long day. I literally felt like when I woke up this morning, I felt like I just got out of the hospital just based on what's been going on. Trust me, I'm ecstatic. And it was funny coming into work today, like a few of my buddies, everybody went against the Raiders. So it was funny how now all of a sudden they were pretending to call out sick and they didn't even show up. They were trying to duck me the whole time. So I was hunting them down, but I was also hunting down some of these sports hit lister guys and even the NFL guys, because the only person that went for the Raiders this week was the former MVP, Mr. Paul Lawson. Shout out to that man right there, dropping some knowledge over there. He actually went with the Raiders that time. And guess what? We didn't fail him. Even though I had heart palpitations and I probably would have had a heart attack by now after what was going on last night. Trust me. But we can discuss that again.
Absolutely. And listen, I got to tell you, I watched some of that game. Listen, I'm in my late 30s at this point, so I'm not able to stay up for the whole game. So I was catching clips later on. I'll be honest. But I have to tell you, when you guys started coming back in that fourth quarter, especially that strip on Lamar, when you were able to strip Lamar and get the ball back when you were down, I was like, all right, tables have turned. All right, there's momentum going the other way. New stadium, new vibe, the energy.
The crowd was
The crowd was insane. That stadium is insane. I think that stadium looks better than in Dallas. That is a better stadium than Dallas. But you know what, you guys? I was actually ready to rip you on the show, and that was because of at the half you had a rookie running back running all over you. All over.
Oh,
you.
yeah. He was
First
cooking
ever
us.
touchdown. He was cooking you. Lamar didn't even have to play you. The running back was cooking you. And I apologize to him and his family. I can't even remember his name. But that just shows you.
Tyshawn Williams, I believe.
There you go. I appreciate you saying that. But with that being said, you came back. And listen, everybody's now saying, oh, overtime car, this and that, giving him his credit. I know you're a little hard on the man, Do you give him credit?
Raiders are gonna be Raiders are gonna Raiders. That's the ideal quote of last night's game. Shout out to Jarvis, Ray Jarvis. He mentioned that last night, and also Ricardo Etienne almost caught their hands last night. Because let me tell you, that final drive when we were at the one after Brian Edwards got the ball and almost scored that touchdown, and then Leatherwood, the first round draft pick that we drafted too high for, cost us a false start. We fall back instead of being 1 yard away. We end up being 5 yards or 6 yards, you could say technically. And Derek Carr throws the pick. Decides to throw like a 105 miles per hour bullet to a guy that's like 5 feet away from him. And I was like, he overdid it on that. Shout out to the Sports Headless guys for mentioning and commenting about that and bringing it to my attention. And it was just after watching the highlights today, I was just like, you know what? He kind of overdid a few things. Like he overthrew, like not overthrow, but he overpowered some of those passes. And I get it. You had the line coming at you, the D line, but that pass to Willie Snead, I got pissed off at Willie Snead at first because before the game, Willie Snead was like, "Oh, it's a revenge game for me. Former Raven. I get to go play against my old team. I'm gonna cook." He did nothing. And you probably look at the stats. He probably had one catch, 5 yards. My unsung hero from last night. There was a few guys I need to name. Brian Edwards. If it was not for him, we would have never got those two. He came up with 2 crucial catches. Because remember, after the Ravens kicked the field goal and then were up by a field goal, it was 38 seconds left. There's an actual video of a Ravens fan, in a pool in Vegas. He jumped in the pool after they kicked the field goal because he's like, 38 seconds. They're not going to tie. Ravens win. What ends up happening? 2 straight passes. 2 straight passes from Derek Carr, accurately, mind you, 20-plus yards. Brian Edwards catches the ball, brings us into field goal range, and Daniel Carlson hits a 55-yarder to tie the game with ease. I was like, damn, we need Janikowski. I'm so used to this man hitting 60-foot bombs.
He was the man. He was the man.
Yeah. Hey, people say we wasted a first-round draft pick for him, but you know what? It was worth it for what he did because he actually did his job. So Brian Edwards, and also on the defensive side, my man, Mad Max Crosby. This man even gained respect from Lamar Jackson. Like, he sacked Lamar twice, got, I believe, 7 tackles at the end of the game. This man you could tell the line was exhausted. They did the best they can, and I even said this in the Smoke and Mirrors episode last night, where my whole thing is I want to see how this defense plays. I'm not really worried about the offense. I'm more worried about the defense because the entire offseason I've been hearing nonstop, the defense is revamped. We got the former defensive coordinator of the Seahawks with the Legion of Boom. We just got KJ Wright. We got Gerald McCoy. We gave him a shot. We got some veterans. Let's see how we do. And shout out to Greg Polius and Stephen Polius. They brought up Sammy Watkins as like one of the greatest wide receivers in game ones of every season. Like, this man goes crazy. He had, I believe, 96 yards catching against us, receiving yards. And Latavius Murray was cooking us as well. Don't slouch on him. Like, that rushing touchdown he did, it looked like it was like ping pong. Like, he just went in and out, like, bounced off people like, okay, you're a rookie. You're young. You ain't going to do nothing. Score with feet. And also Josh Jacobs. My man played with a bad foot, scored 2 crucial touchdowns to help us get there. And shout out, also a happy birthday from yesterday's game to Darren Waller. The man, if you haven't heard his story, this man used to play on the Ravens years ago when he first started, but he kept getting injured and he ended up taking opioids. He kept taking a bunch of, medication and stuff and got addicted to drugs and everything like that regarding that. And then his life pretty much, he got released. He didn't think he would play again, and Raiders revamped his career. He changed his lifestyle and he stopped, he stood sober for so many years now. And on his 29th birthday, he put 10 catches, 120 yards, I believe, and a touchdown. Shout out to them. Shout out to the Raiders, but next week's another test.
I got to tell you, they got one of the hardest schedules. I was looking at that. They got one of the hardest schedules coming up in the first 4 or 5 weeks. And we always say that the first 4 or 5 weeks are going to be the telltale signs for a team on how they do as they go into a season. Because football is one of those things. It's one game a week. It's not like hockey where, all right, you have a bad game, you come back. It's not like baseball where, you could shellac the Yankees for 2 out of 3 games and then all of a sudden.
Whoa. Settle down there.
Get to that. We're going to get to that. But then you can go and turn around and put up a 0 egg spot against the Cardinals and fucking, excuse my French, but you get shellacked by Adam Wainwright, who's 40-something years old. And I'm gonna tell you my piece and cues about the Mets in a little while. But with that being said, I got to give a shout out to Josh Jacobs. He helped me win this week in fantasy football. I got him as my draft pick. I appreciate that. Thank you. But when it comes to week 1, we've seen a lot of highs. We saw a lot of lows.
So with your team, what you thought of the Jets this week, man? Regardless of the loss, what did you think?
I actually liked it. I liked what I saw from Zach Wilson. We have no offensive line. Our offensive line are rookies or put together by Band-Aids. Our offensive line is shot, but Zach Wilson still moved in the pocket, moved out of the pocket, and was still able to make plays when he had the pressure of the Panthers on his back. That showed veteran leadership in his first game. Mind you, I just heard a stat. It was his first time ever in an NFL stadium. He never went to an NFL stadium as a kid, as a fan. This was his first Sunday football experience.
Oh, wow.
So to be in that type of experience, and yes, he did throw an interception. He's got to be a little more clear with that. But to be able to throw those 2 touchdowns to Corey Davis, those were pinpoint throws.
Which helped me, by the way. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I'll tell him. But those were pinpoint. They were clear. And he had the vision to find Corey. He led Corey on the first one, walked with him, and then was able to drop it right in. And then the second one, same thing. He was able to flip it over him. Now, I think at times he tried to do a little too much. I think he had a little happy feet. It was his first game. He wanted to be like, yeah, I'm the second overall pick. You should have went first for me, type thing. So he had a little happy feet there. So he has to calm it down a little. But he had poise. I like the poise. Our defense, yes, I know it was Sam Darnold, so it's not a shock that our defense would play pretty well. But they played pretty well.
Don't forget, you guys lost a lot of players this offseason.
So another stat I found out, and I knew it coming in, but I didn't realize to this degree, we have the youngest team in the NFL right now. So there's going to be some hiccups along the road. What I did see that is represented by our coach is it was all gas, no brakes. They stayed on them till the end. There was a shot they could have still been able to win that game. They just got to fix a couple of things. They're going against New England. So now I got 2 rookie quarterbacks going into week 2. Mac Jones didn't look so good. Didn't look so good against Miami. And now they're probably saying maybe I should have called back Cam.
Nah, let them continue. They got their quarterback. They're comfortable with it. I mean, I had my fair share of like, okay, you can't slum, but you know what? It's business. That's their choice. I hope they shit the bed, honestly.
Oh, I absolutely listen. If they go 2-14 or 3-12 or 3-13, I'm okay with that because New England fans were all like, "Oh, we got Cam Newton. We're going back to the Super Bowl." Not happening. And that gets me to another thing that I'm going to discuss later on, and that's my hatred for Tom Brady and him being on the New England Patriots. It all comes together. Carl, you called me out last week. I told you how much I hated Tom Brady. And you came for me with my hatred for Tom Brady. And I'm here to say to you, stop moving the goalposts. Stop trying to get your story of the week. We know I hate Tom Brady. He could win another Super Bowl. I'm still going to hate Tom Brady. I don't care who he plays for. He can play for the Shanghai Ducks for all I care. At the end of the day, Tom Brady got lucky at times. The tuck rule, apologize against your Raiders.
Don't bring that one up, man. Still
Tom
hurts.
Brady was caught and implicated in Deflategate.
Tell me how you really feel, Mike.
So you want to talk about ifs? Well, I got an if for you, Carl. If he doesn't deflate the balls, does he win as many games? If he doesn't have the tuck rule, does he win against the Raiders and go on to another Super Bowl? So yes, I'm giving you an if. Burn the shirt. There are ifs. There are ifs in sports. You're moving the goalposts and you got to stop. You want to see me? You want to talk about the ifs? We can keep it going. And I know it's your birthday, so I'll be a little nicer. And
Happy
I'll say
birthday,
it nicely. Happy birthday. But still, the if for you is Tom Brady might have the talent. And if you have watched the show, like you said you have been, you would have saw the first week when I said to Manny, and I admitted to Manny, the guy has talent. I will never take away his talent. But as a player, as a fan, I will always hate Tom Brady. And I'll even put in, I'll hate your man, Paul Pierce. Come at me. I'll let you keep going now, Manny.
Let him go. I mean, I hated Tom Brady. Obviously, he is a Michigan Wolverine, so I can't hate him. I didn't hate him in college. You know, I didn't pay too much attention to him. It was mainly Charles Woodson. But over the years, I hated Tom Brady mainly because he was on the Patriots, and that's a Boston team. I would never root for any Boston team. Maybe some Boston players, like I have said to the baseball fellas, that I believe that, you know, David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, you had Pedro Martinez, you know, from the motherland. So I got to root for them only when they don't play the Yankees. That was really it. I would never root for any of the other Red Sox players. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And I know people watching. I'm probably gonna take this out of context and get little snippets and try to say, "Oh, he's a Red Sox fan and this and that." Like, I don't really care. But since we're on baseball, let's discuss your Mets, man.
Yeah, let's talk about. We had a
You
Subway Series this weekend, didn't we?
yeah, before we get into it, 20-year anniversary, 9/11, very emotional time. I know a few people that actually lost family members, parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, so it's kind of tough. So, we get a little moment of silence for them. And for those who are watching, if you lost a family member, my condolences on that horrific day. So
And I just want to piggyback off that, Manny. When we think about the horrific events that happen at 9/11, they never get easier, right?
Nope.
They never get better. Just time heals a little, but doesn't heal enough, because it takes one image, one idea of that day that brings it all back to where everybody was at that precise moment.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you bringing that up, because I have to tip my hat to the Mets and the Yankees for what they did before that game. If anybody had the opportunity to watch that ceremony, that was
beautiful.
true to form. That was true to form. Nobody remembers, but if anybody remembers, baseball was the first sport to say, you know what, we got to come back right after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And they
And your man Piazza.
my man Piazza, that's
bomb.
right. The dual citizen
bomba.
himself that eats his pasta in Italy and comes here for events. He was able to really lift a city that was in despair. Lift a city that was hurting.
I just wish the Yankees would have followed up and won the World Series that year. That would have really helped New York.
Settle down. But I will say that, it was a little apropos that at that game, 20 years later, a game-winning home run was hit. And this time it was Aaron Judge in the 8th.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little apropos That's how a game was won. And that series meant a lot for both teams. And if you don't mind, I want to go first about my Mets because I got a couple of things to say.
Got you. I got you.
It's something that Mr. Greg Polius himself brought up a couple of weeks ago. It's the inconsistency of our team. Look at the way they just played against the Yankees. Every single game, they were
intense.
They were offensive. It felt like playoff baseball.
Yes.
You get momentum. You then go against the Cardinals. Pete Alonso, where'd you go?
Ain't he the home run king? Ain't he the home run king? Home run derby champ?
Yeah, he's more like the home run dud right now because every pitch he's hitting, if he even gets a pitch, because he's striking out more than he's hitting pop flies. He had a couple of doubles here and there, but he's not really doing much. Now you have Javi Baez, you have Francisco Lindor all coming in. They're starting to make their noise. Lindor is actually showing why he's worth the amount of money we paid him with a 3 home run game, especially against the Yankees to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
But the inconsistency is what's killing me. They could be an amazing major league team, or they could be the bad news Bears. They're never there's never any middle ground. And if there is middle ground, they make us Met fans. They rip our hearts out because after that game against the Yankees on Sunday night, I'm like, all right, we got 20 games to go. We got the Cardinals now. We're going for a wild card. We're 3.5 back. If that. We got to make some moves. We got to do this now. You get shut out 7-0. You had a man on second and third. How many times in that game? And you can't bring one home. They had first and third, 0 outs in the 8th inning. Strikeout. Are you kidding me? Where is the intensity? It was only 5-0 at that point. Then you go in the 9th inning and you give up 2 more runs. This team is killing me. And it's what I deal with every year. I'd rather them suck and not even be in a playoff hunt and say, okay, we got them next year, than have to worry about what the next 20 games are going to do and sit there and waste my time watching them when it's only mediocrity. It's killing me. And to listen, kudos to them for the way they played against the Yankees. That was great. They played well against your Yankees. But at the same time, then you go at home, not even in St. Louis. You're home.
Didn't even travel.
You didn't even travel. And to play like that, it rips into me. Just as much as Carl with the no ifs. It rips into me.
Yeah, plus you guys had a night game. The Yankees played at 1:00 the same day, and we won. And I'm like, okay, where was this energy before? Where was this energy on Sunday night? I mean, again, kudos to the Mets for winning. Yankees losing. Guess what? We got apparently we're tied for the second wild card with the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. Guess who snuck in and took the first wild card? The Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
First off, shout out to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., home run king right now at 45. Mm-hmm. And you can ask Eddie. He went to the game last week, and I told him, I said, I guarantee he hits a home run when you go. And what happened? He sends me the video. Sends me a video of Vlad going yard. This man's hitting missiles. So he's going to he's in chase right now for the Triple Crown. So, which I actually love. He's only 4 RBIs from tying for 107.
Did you see how many runs they scored on Sunday?
Oh, my God. It was like 17. It was like 17-2. Oh, my
22.
God.
They scored more runs than the Jets and the Giants both scored in a football game, and touchdowns at 6 points each. That's insane.
Hate to see it.
That's insane. You hate to see it as a Yankee fan. Me, I sit back and go, because I like it.
It can be intense. I know how it is.
Now,
I mean,
let me ask
again,
you this.
remember before we let me clarify some things with some of these viewers. A couple of guys in the sports hit list: Eddie Gonzalez, Declan Crogman. They came at me and Charlie for giving up on the Yankees early on in the season before the first half of the season was over, before the All-Star break. We gave up on them because we didn't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get, before the trade deadline, we get Rizzo, we get Gallo, and then we get Andrew Heaney, who, like, what is he there for? Just to get rocked, give us 7 innings, and get ripped to shreds and put up an 8 runs allowed? Like, your ERA was like at a 6.3 before you came to the Yankees, and it's like a 6.50. I don't know. It's insane. Like, nothing has changed. So yeah, I gave up on the Yankees. Why? Because I didn't see anything. This team is not built for it. Think about it. The past couple of years we've been, hooting for the Yankees that Yankees taking it. I used to go at Zane, the Astro fan. I used to go at it with him all the time regarding it. And what ends up happening? Nothing. They lose. Let's not forget Charlie last year on the live. He was irate. He was literally almost in tears. And I tried to tell him, we got this, Charlie. Don't worry. The Yankees are going to win. It's against the Rays. And what happened? They get destroyed. They lose the same way they lost to the Astros in the previous playoff series by a walk-off home run by Aroldis Chapman. But yet, us as fans, we can't be mad at that. We can't be pissed off at our team. We got to stick with them through and through. Yes, that's what fans are. We have to. But let me tell you something. From what I've seen all season, I didn't see the Yankees winning anything because the Rays got better, even better. What else? All these other teams are stacking up. And if by any chance the Yankees actually are able to snag that wild card spot, do you really think in a 7-game series they're going to win? Hell no.
No,
the Rays and the Astros are going to cook us.
Because who do you have? Because you Cole, you don't know if he's good.
Cole is going to get 1 win for us. But you think about this. Say we get the wild card. It's a 1 game.
Right.
So we use Cole. Cole
Right.
pitches his lights out. But what happens if Cole gets rocked? Let's not forget that Cole does give up home runs.
You don't have a bullpen.
Our bullpen is scared.
Yeah.
The entire time. My thing is, where was the coaching on Sunday when Lindor is batting? He hit 2 home runs already. He hits a home run off a breaking ball, another one off a fastball, I believe, if I'm correct. And then you had Chad Green, who's supposedly our best relief pitcher, throws it literally inside low, and Lindor goes yard.
Yep.
And it was out the building already. So you give up 3 home runs to Lindor, and yet I laugh at when Lindor hit the 3 home runs because I remember a week ago, Met fans were killing him. Everybody hated him. I had Met fans in group chats coming at his neck, wanting him dead or anything like that. Obviously, it was a little bit extreme. Some fans were actually like, you know what? He's emotional. He's this. He's that. We're human at the end of the day. We don't we want emotion? Don't we want any type of reaction? And what happened? Now all of a sudden, y'all besties with him? That's your best friend? Come on, man.
All right.
Ridiculous.
So let me jump in on that. Because listen, am I besties with Lindor? No. Do I think he's starting to play to his potential of what we're paying him? Yes. I have some issues with my team. I haven't had the opportunity to step on my soapbox, as I like to call it, to be able to discuss the whole thumbs down issues with the Mets. So I'm going.
Shout out to Brett Gardner for that.
Yes. I'm going to
great.
be ending. I'm going to be ending the show today with my feelings on that. But for the time being, though, before I tell you, Lindor is not a fan favorite yet. He is not. He had those 3 home runs, yes, but then he'll strike out 3 times the next night, or he'll pop fly. He won't. He has no consistency offensively yet. And that's a problem. Javi Baez, same thing. Everybody's like, you better pay that man money. Come on now. This man is chasing pitches that are golfing. He's chasing pitches that are under the dirt, not even in the dirt because they're so down. And he's chasing them. For what? For what? You're going to pop it up? What, because you made contact? You're going to say you're a great hitter? Come on. But I digress right now because I have my things to say about both of them. But two things I got out of this series against the Yankees and the Mets that I want to get your opinion on. One, what the hell was Gary Sanchez doing at home with that one play? Can we talk about that for a second, please?
It's like you can't make it up. It's like I laugh at Gary Sanchez apologists where they defend him like, oh, he has a great bat. The man cannot play catcher. He could barely, if you can't even catch for your best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the AL or in the league, you can say top 5, top 3, whatever you want to put him in your rankings. If you can't even catch for him.
I lost you there, Manny. I lost you.
Hello, you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. We lost the
Yeah,
end.
my headphones died. But yes, so what kills me is this man, people defend him, especially Eddie Gonzalez. That's his boy. But if you watch the play,
Had him by a mile. And with the rule, as it was discussed yesterday, shout out to Charlie in the Sports Hit List in the Smoke and Mirrors episode yesterday. He had him by a mile. You can't charge the catcher anymore. Right. They took that out for player safety. And what ends up happening? He tags him on top of his head when the man slid under. Like, kudos to him. The law, I believe it was the one that ran home.
Law, yep.
Kudos to him for being smart and making Sanchez look dumber every single year. Now, let me say one thing about Gary Sanchez, what he needs to do in this offseason, because I still don't believe the Yankees going far, especially the way he's playing. What Gary Sanchez needs to do is pick up the phone. Oh. What he needs to do is call Pudge Rodriguez, one of the greatest catchers of all time, and say, hey, I need you every single day to train me so I can be better. The man has an arm. He can gun you out. But you got Yadier Molina. Like, you can't learn from him. Yadier Molina is 40-something years old, and he's still gunning cats. All right? Shout out to him. That's a legend right there.
Yes.
Yadier Molina is a legend.
He's one of the
greatest.
Plus,
he kills the Mets, so I love that even more.
Shut up. Shut your mouth. Listen.
I had to get that in there.
I got to tell you, though. I play softball, right? I actually started playing softball again on Sundays. I had my last Sunday morning was last week was the first game. I'm still sore from
Thursday. I'm more nervous to tearing my ACL running to first.
Listen, I can't even sit to use the bathroom. That's how sore my legs are because I play catcher. But with that being said, playing catcher, I thought I was Gary Sanchez the way he was playing, the way he was stepping away from the plate. Like, all right, I'm just going to tag you. Like, I didn't understand it at all. You are a Major League Baseball player. As Charlie said, as you just reinstituted, you can't charge the catcher anymore. So the worst case scenario is he's sliding towards you. If he even is. He pulled up. He pulled up knowing he was out. He knew he was a cooked duck. He pulled up saying, all right, I'm giving way. And then he saw him walk away. He's like, oh, all right. And slid right in. Stupid play. But then if you notice the rest of the game, I don't know what was going on with him. I don't know if it got into his head and he had the sillies after that. But you had to see there was pitches that were curveballs that he was trying to catch backhanded that were going away from him and going to the backstop. Michael Conforto at one point almost stole home from second. He actually thought about it because Gary Sanchez couldn't find the ball. So listen, whenever we play the Mets, if you still have Gary Sanchez, keep him in, please. Keep him in because I love it. But there's another thing I wanted to talk about with what happened at the Mets-Yankees series. And it was the benches clearing. There wasn't a brawl like everybody saying, oh, the bench is cleared. This, that. No, listen, it was benches cleared because now there's another accusation that is being made on the other side now, on the Yankees, that they were stealing signs, stealing
We
signals.
were whistling.
And that's why Giancarlo was able to smack the home run, this and that. As a Yankee fan, I want to hear your take on it.
Oh, Lindor backtracked. He said his kind of, I don't know if they did it or not. If you actually listen to the post game and stuff, the whistling. Apparently, I read an article stating that Stanton stated that I forgot the player's name. He was in the bench. He was trying to liven up the dugout. Again, we weren't there. We don't know. What we see on TV is different from being at the live game. Like, I would have loved to have been at that game so I could hear the whistling. I didn't watch too much of the game on Saturday, but I definitely tuned in on Sunday after football, obviously. Yeah. But I was just like, okay, cheating. I mean, Greg has stated it. They already mentioned it. It's been going on for years. And I even tried explaining that to a couple other Met fans that were hitting me up saying, they're like, oh, y'all cheating now? So I'm like, excuse me? Oh, teams don't cheat, right? Just us. They made it seem like it was the Yankees only doing it. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, it was just the Yankees. Yankees have been caught cheating. We just got caught cheating apparently in 2017 as well, using devices. Maybe not like the Astros, but we still use devices. And guess what? That's cheating. But every team does it. It's the oldest rule in the book, right? Or is it against the rules, pretty much, you can say?
No,
so my thing on it is, guess what? Shit happens. It was a very intense game because on Saturday we were all buddy, like, hey, we did this for the city. Then the next day it's like, it's on site. I'm gonna see you. I'm gonna see you outside. You don't catch these hands. But honestly, I love that. I love that intensity with Javier Baez in the door coming at Stanton. But then I also shout out to Garrett Cole for defending Stanton because Stanton was the one rounding the bases.
Mm-hmm.
So the Yankees are there, and then you see Cole stop chattering, and then he gets over the dugout and goes into the field. And it's like, nah, I'm gonna protect my player too. He's by himself while the rest of y'all over there yapping. So it brought intensity. Some Met fans were hype about it, and guess what? Lindor shut us up and hit his third home run. Literally the next at bat. So
you know what? And that was funny because when Lindor hit that, who did they zoom in on? Giancarlo. They zoomed right in on his face, and you could see in his face that in his head, he's like, this mother effer. Like, I can't believe he just did this to me. Listen, it's the oldest trick in the book with signs, stealing signs. It has been done for years. This is why when a man is on second, the pitchers and the catchers change up their signs. This is why they go to the Rolodex of signs that they have. And shout out to Greg, who's a pitcher, and maybe we can get him on one of these weeks to talk about it. They change up their approach, and they change.
And Garrison,
approach.
You got to get Garrison too because he is a catcher, so he can give us some insight on what Gary Sanchez needs to do with his life.
But it's always,
honestly,
well, there's nothing Gary Sanchez can do but keep playing against the Mets and just keep playing the way he was. I appreciate that. But then he got the game-winning hit yesterday, so I thought you would be celebrating him today.
I don't. At this point,
Eddie's.
Remember, I gave up on my team. Remember, whatever the Yankees do, if they win, apparently I can't celebrate. That apparently those are the rules.
I do think Eddie is probably hugging Gary Sanchez's poster right now.
Eddie is a Gary Sanchez apology.
Oh yeah, I see him in the he's already in the comments saying it's fair game because the top pitches of the pitcher and this that. Shut up. You know better than me. Gary Sanchez is trash. Trash.
Didn't Gary Sanchez? Huh? Didn't Gary Sanchez on Sunday strike out?
Yes.
In the ninth inning?
Yes.
Before Stanton struck out?
Correct.
What did Gary Sanchez do? And then what happened? The next night he gets the game with the walk-off hit. And it's like, okay, where was this yesterday?
That's why I said keep playing the Mets and keep that energy. I'm okay with that. But all right, so you see how I'm hating on certain players. That gets me into our segment for today. There's a lot of talk of how much I hate on Tom Brady, how much I hate Tom Brady. You heard my rant before. from Carl. And yes, Carl, there are ifs in sports, because if Tom Brady doesn't deflate the balls and play with deflated balls, if Tom Brady doesn't have the tuck rule, does he really go and win against the Raiders? I'm always going to hate Tom Brady, but I want to hear from you. Who is the all-time player in your eyes that you're like, man, even if he's great, I have to hate on him? And then I want to kind of go into a top 5 you think that fans will always go into, and why.
That's tough, honestly. You should have told me this before the segment so I could look up. Because off the top of my head,
Come on, it's got to be off the dome.
I mean, I would say Brady number 1
Okay.
for me, just based on, the tuck rule. Raiders, come on, man. Cost me a chip. I could have seen at least 1 ring.
Okay.
I would say other players I've hated, regarding basketball, football, all that stuff. I hated Jamarcus Russell, of course.
Okay.
We wasted a pick on him and looked like fools when we could have got Megatron and Aaron Rodgers.
He
That's
like
a whole.
He ate Jamarcus Russell. When he came out, he looked like he ate 2 Jamarcus Russells. He gained so much weight. That man looked like he was freaking Jumbo Man. Like, it was
my favorite story on him was when they gave him blank tapes, and then the next day he comes into practice and they say, "Did you study the tapes?" And he said, "Yes." And it was like there were blank tapes. There were blank tapes.
Yes,
there's nothing on the tape. So
yeah.
come on, dude. I would say another player I hated, baseball, I believe, would be Carl Pavano.
Okay.
Yes, he was a Yankee. Yes, he helped us get a ring, but I hated that. And the reason why I hated him, because he did nothing for me. Even the times I went to the games when we were supposedly doing well, he gets rocked. So it's just like, Jesus, man. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I got to deal with this constantly. Another player will be Courtney Lee. He used to play for yes. It's an actual personal vendetta with this man, Courtney Lee. He used to play on the Nets, and he's actually our best player at one point with a rookie, Brook Lopez, I believe. And I just hated Courtney Lee because I actually met him at a restaurant. Now, I was outside waiting to get called into the restaurant. He pops up, and I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, yo, you Courtney Lee. I'm like, I saw you the other night. You were doing well. And I was like, great game. And then he was like, that's regular for me. You ain't shit. And I was like, wait, what? like he say I ain't shit. I'm like, last time I checked, I'm like 5'6", 5'7". I'm not in NBA shape. Let's be real now. Like, you're an NBA player. I just say you had a great game. You're playing on my favorite team. And you tell me I ain't shit? I'm like, okay, F you. I don't care about that. And then Brady's not my top 1. My top 1 is A-Royd, Alex Rodriguez.
Really?
Yes. And I've said this story plenty of times. On my birthday, many moons ago, this was the year right before A-Rod and Alfonso Soriano were traded for each other. So A-Rod becoming a Yankee, Alfonso going to the Texas Rangers. Alfonso Soriano's top 5, one of my favorite players of all time. I don't care talent-wise, whatever. But with A-Rod, it was my birthday. My cousins got me tickets. My parents went with me. After the game, I'm getting signatures from a bunch of baseball players. I wish I was home so I could show you. I got Carl Everett, Pudge Rodriguez, Rafael Palmeiro.
Got Carl Everett, I believe. There was a couple guys that were at the game. They gave me their autographs. And then out of nowhere, what ends up happening, A-Rod walks by. And I say, hey, A-Rod, it's my birthday. I'm Dominican too, man. Whatever. I just try to throw anything in there just to see if he bite. He walks past us. And I said, yo, A-Rod. There was only 3 people there that were asking for autographs. Me, a guy who was in a wheelchair, who was a great person, by the way. He had a great sign, too. And another little kid. So it was only 3 of us there. He walks past us, and I'm like, hey, Rod, it's my birthday. I kept yelling. He walks back to us and says, I don't sign autographs. It's in my contract. And then walks away. When he said that, and turned back, I said, fuck you. You're a piece of shit. Obviously, my mom slapped me in the back of the head because, Caribbean parents don't play that. Caribbean parents don't play that. No matter how old you are, they will slap you upside the head. So shout out to mom for that. So after he leaves, Jason Giambi saw it, walks straight to all three of us, signed the guy in the wheelchair. He signs his sign and signs them a ball and signed my ball. And he apologized to us. He's like, hey, I'm sorry about that. That's him, So I was like, shout out to Jason Giambi, regardless of your, I always love Jason Giambi for being a humble player in a way, especially for the fans. We love him. And so that's why I hate A-Rod. And I will forever hate A-Rod. Now he's the CEO or trying to be CEO of a Presidente, the beer of Dominican Republic. And it's like, I hate you. But I can hate him as much as I want personally, but he is still one of the greatest shortstops all time.
So I'm going to give you my 5. Obviously, we know number 1. I won't beat a dead horse. Tom Brady, I hate you. I hate him. Not only so I'll give you a quick tidbit about Tom Brady. I don't hate him just because he played the Jets. I hate him because he always and this could be also blamed on Bill Belichick. But whenever Tom Brady played, he was patting stats. They could be up by 2 touchdowns. He was continuously going for more touchdowns. Now, there's a time and a place for everything. But if you're beating a team late in the fourth quarter by 2 or 3 touchdowns and you're still bombing the ball, going for more and more touchdowns, you're just doing it because you're patting your stats. You're trying to pat your stats on yardage. You're patting your stats on receptions. Like, you're still playing. And yes, some people might say, well, that's just the intensity of a player. I understand that. But doing it every game, it just seemed like you were just doing it to be a dick. All right. It was like that mentality of, I'm better than you. Look what I can do. Like, it's like when the bully puts the kid down and it puts the shirt over his head and you're just patting on his belly and there's nothing the kid can do about it, right? It's the same mentality. So for that's one of the many reasons why I hate Tom Brady. And yes, he did it a lot against the Jets. So yes, I am salty. Come at me, Carl. Second one, Joakim Noah. Carl knows this story very well. I go to one of the first ever drafts with Carl, my boy Nick, me, we all go. I don't remember if it was at the Garden. It might have been at Barclays. Right? It might have been one of the first ones at Barclays. Okay. When Noah got drafted. And we actually picked the tickets up that night.
Nah, I don't think Barclays. No. It had to be.
No, it was the first one. It was the first one ever. Noah was drafted in that one. Because I remember him walking by me and it was in Barclays. So when he walked by, right, he's signing all these autographs for kids. He was just drafted by the Bulls and everything. And I got a Bulls hat on. I always loved the Bulls emblem. I'm a Knicks fan, but I always loved the look of the Bulls emblem. I'm that type of fan. It's okay. I can wear other teams, but I'm not rooting for them. I'm not sitting there going, go Bulls, go. No, I like the merch.
Go White Sox and Padres.
Shut up.
That was for Eddie.
So with that being said, I have a Bulls hat. It's the draft one. So it's white with the red stripe, the red emblem in the middle. And I'm like, I'm gonna get him to sign it. Perfect. I pull it up. I pull it out. And I'm standing there with the marker in my hand. This man looks at me, looks at the hat, and goes around me and goes to the next person and starts signing an autograph. So I look up at him and I'm going to go, yo, Noah, it's a Bulls hat. You're on the Bulls. Can you sign this? And he just looks at me, says something in Spanish. I don't know what the hell he said. And then just kept going and kept it moving. And after that, I was like, you know what? Even when he came to the Knicks, I said he was a doofy man then. I did not care for him. Personally, I will never like him. Another one for me that I will always hate, and I never actually thought he was a good player, Luis Castillo.
It was a pop-up. Obviously, by the player I hate the most.
A-Rod.
Yes.
And I remember that night very clearly. It's funny, my best man at my wedding 2 years ago, shout out to my best man, Brian, brought up this story. We're at a bar. We're all watching it now. I'm only Met fan around like 30 Yankee fans. and we're watching the game, and A-Rod pops it up. And I'm in the bar like, yeah, you guys go down, yeah. Luis Castillo, and drops it. I've never turned whiter in my life. I saw my life flash before my eyes because to me, I was like, I just made the biggest dick move of my life, riling up 30 Yankee fans, and he goes and does that. So, and I listen, I never thought he was actually a good player when he was on Twins, wherever he was. I never thought he was actually good, but he was on my team, so I gave him a chance. Not after that. I was booing him harder than anybody else. I also, people are going to get on me for this, but at times I am a hater towards LeBron James. And
I was too.
And listen, it's not against his talent. His talent should be working for him, but he's utilizing his talent to bring in all these different free agents. And I don't know if I blame him or I blame the big money market that is now the NBA of players wanting to play together. And he is, listen, he is smart, but I think what really killed me, and this is when it really went downhill for me, is when he made the decision. And I blame media. Yes, media man. Yes, we're on media, but Carl, I am blaming the media on this. The decision really put a lot of hatred on LeBron, and I was one of them. He had us glued to the TV. It was like they were waiting for the helicopter to land, for him to walk into the gym. You would have thought it was the second coming of one of the, like Abraham Lincoln doing the Gettysburg Address, right? The way people were sitting by their TVs, just staring, waiting. They had a countdown. And then within 5 minutes, he's saying he's taking his talents to Miami. That ripped into me because you also had people left and right saying he was going to the Knicks. Now, no, that's not why I hate on him. I hate the spectacle. I hated the spectacle, and because of that, I hated him. I still do hate him to a certain degree because Jordan had pieces, right? And yes, all right, people are going to say, oh, here comes the comparison between LeBron and Jordan. Jordan had certain pieces, but those pieces weren't regarded as all-stars or regarded as stars for other respective teams, right? Where if they went, like say a Melo goes to the Knicks, he's the top guy, right? You put Pippen on another team, I don't know if he's still really the top guy. You put Tony Kukoc on another team, I don't know if he's a top guy. Steve Kerr, same thing. They were just pieces to help him. In chess, they were his rooks to him being, or his pawns to him being the king on the chessboard. LeBron is bringing in these stars and dangling this whole championship mentality in front of them. And for a lot of them, as you're seeing, Russ Westbrook, and that's right, I'm coming at you in a second about your comparison of Russ Westbrook to Roddy Piper. Don't think I forgot that either. But you got Russell Westbrook, you got Carmelo Anthony, always got a place in my heart. But to go chase the ring, you're all coming together, and it just it rubs me the wrong way because I feel like once he went to Miami is when it really started going in a different direction in the NBA. You had teams that had their certain stars that played against each other, but then it went into a certain dynamic where everybody was making essentially, I hate the media term, super teams.
I mean, I hope you had that same energy for the Celtics when they did it.
Oh, I did.
Okay, I'm just making sure, man. You can't just not. I mean, I granted, everybody was pissed off. Everybody hated LeBron for that decision.
The only player on the Celtics that I truly respect, and I was joking before saying I hated on him because I know it's Carl's favorite player.
Oh no,
is Paul Pierce, and this is why. Because he was the only man that stayed on that team from beginning to end and built that team. He is the truth for building that team. Other players came to him to gain momentum, but he built that team. He didn't go anywhere. He didn't go chasing. He didn't do like a LeBron, I'm going to D Wade and bring him Chris Bosh with me. He didn't do a Melo or a Russell Westbrook flipping teams back and forth Melo going to Portland thinking, being with Dame Dollar, that he's going to be able to win there. That type of mentality.
Portland, but you got to think about it. Portland gave him a shot. All the teams were giving him shots. Houston screwed him over. Everybody thought he was done with the league, and Portland gave him a shot, and he shone. He showed he can come off the bench.
And he did, and that's why he's still playing. But I'm saying that mentality, though, that because I bet you if Memphis picked up a phone, he wouldn't have been going to Memphis. He would have sat.
Well, we don't know. That's on them at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, no, true. So that's why I hate on LeBron. Eli Manning. This man gets too much credit for being an amazing quarterback, and he is mediocre. He is a mediocre quarterback that has gotten lucky. And again, if David Tyree doesn't catch a ball off his helmet, and I'm going back to ifs, Carl, come see me, they don't win that Super Bowl.
Damn.
Eli
Giant is about to come after you, man.
Come see me, because Eli threw that ball 10 feet in the air. He wasn't trying to throw it away from the defender. He was just chucking it up, hoping that somebody would catch it.
At the end of the day, they won the ring twice.
It was a miracle catch. It was a miracle catch, and I'm not
Miracles
taking away
happen in sports.
They do. They do. But I always felt Eli got the keys to the city when most of the seasons besides that, he was putting up okay numbers. And now, again, I'm a Jets fan. I can't talk about quarterbacks. We've gone through 7 quarterbacks in 7 years. So I can't front on quarterbacks. And yes, you guys had your star quarterback. You had your legendary quarterback of this era during that time. But I still don't, to me, watching him play, there was something that just never clicked for me thinking he was a star. It always felt like he was a mediocre quarterback, that the players around him made him look better.
Okay. I mean, that's a solid opinion for you and stuff, and that's your take. But you also got to think about it. There are players that don't do and we've seen this in every type of sport. In the regular season, they probably are trash, or they don't put up the big numbers that superstars put up. But when you come to the playoffs, postseason, all that, that's a whole different ballgame. That's a brand new season. And what happens? A lot of these guys shine. And Eli Manning, he may not have his brother's seasonal stats and stuff like that, career stats, but when it came to the playoffs, let me tell you, that man won in Green Bay, in Lambeau. Do you understand how difficult it is to win in Lambeau? Especially against one of the greatest quarterbacks in our era? It is not an easy thing. And as much as I crack on the Giants and Eli Manning and stuff, I can't knock him. And plus, he beat Brady twice.
Yeah, but
you're gonna say defense. Giants defense was great.
Hold on.
We're not gonna say it was just him alone. But at the end of the day, who's the one throwing the passes? You still got to catch the ball at the end of the day.
So can I just throw something out there?
Yeah.
Right, and give you something. You said Eli beat Tom Brady twice, right? So did Mark Sanchez. Let's put that comparison for a second. Mark Sanchez was not a star quarterback, and I'm a Jets fan. let's just put that into perspective. Yes, it was during the Super Bowl. I understand it was during the Super Bowl, and it was that one giant step towards an undefeated season, and it's that one L that they have in an undefeated season. I'm not taking away from that. So Giants fans, please do not send Mazel Tov and cocktails towards my house. I am not saying that. I'm not taking away from your championships. What I am saying is, as a Jets fan, as a New Yorker, I just didn't see the hype in Eli. I felt he was a mediocre quarterback that was really hyped up and had some great moments. But overall, I don't think he was like the second coming of a Roger Staub or anybody else for that matter, or Brett Favre. But I got to give you my fifth one because we're running a little low on time. My fifth one is Martin Brodeur.
Martin Brodeur.
One of the best goalies in hockey. One of the dirtiest goalies in hockey. And I cannot stand that man.
Did he play for the Devils?
He played for the Devils pretty much his whole career.
Okay.
And no, not just as a Rangers fan, because I even hated him. And this is a fun fact. I was a Rangers fan and a Colorado Avalanche fan during the 90s. I was actually one of my favorite hockey players of all time is Joe Sakic. I watched him when he was on the Nordiques, and then when they became the Colorado Avalanche, the duel of him, Peter Forsberg, and then you had Patrick Waugh in goal. I hated him when he would have fights. That's right, goalie fights, catching hands between Brodeur and Waugh. And if nobody's ever seen those, run those clips.
I'm gonna have to take a look at that. I like it.
Those were some of the best clips. Those were where brawls were brawls. But there was just something about Brodeur. I just couldn't stand him. That Canadianism in him. I don't know. There was just something that I always hated in him.
Canada, we still love you. We still love you, Canada. You got no beef.
I love Canada. I love Canada. But his I don't know, his aura, just I hate it. But
so
I want you to come in with your hands of the week to end off. So I give
you
my 5. Let me give you my 5. So my 5 are Brady, Joakim Noah, Luis Castillo, Eli Manning, Martin Brodeur. Your 5 again is
Courtney Lee, Tom Brady, Aroyd, Carl Pavano, and I forgot who the 5th one was. There's plenty of them. Trust me, there's too many.
All right. Well,
Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell. That's right. I want to see comments of fans on their top 5 hating.
Yeah, definitely. Like, follow.
Yes.
Like, share, follow. Also, hey guys, it's the fan zone. So, comment. And even after the post, make some posts in the sports hit list,
Let us know what you want to hear. And you brought up a great point. It's the fan zone. We're here for you guys, the fans. You want to hear a segment? You think there's a segment that you haven't heard yet? Email us, message us, let us know. We want to work with you. We want to bring fans on the show. You want to be on the show? Hit us up. Hit us up. Hit my man up. I got my talent manager, Manny, right here. He's got to vet you, make sure you're good enough to be on the show, but we can get you on the show. You want to come on? We need you on. We want to hear from fans. We want to hear what you have to say because we know how much we hate people. We want to hear how much you hate people.
So my hands of the week actually goes to the 49er fans who sent out death threats to Raheem Mostert. And today it just came out where he's out for the season. He's going to get surgery to surgically repair his knee fully. And, obviously I had him in fantasy and it sucked. He got me 2 points. And I'm like, 2 carries? Really? He couldn't get the 3rd? But obviously after the game, his wife, I believe, was saying that they started getting death threats and stuff. And it's like, again, we go back to the whole fans where it's like, how many times every time we go on live and talk about, we always bring up the fans saying out death threats, jumping into the stadium, saying racial slurs. And there was another event at a soccer game where a black athlete misses a goal and then literally minutes later finally hits the goal and he just stands there and he's like, what? You want to say something? I'm here. Embrace it. Continue talking trash to me. Continue saying out all these racial things. Show how much of an animal you really are and how much of a piece of crap person you really are to go through that. It doesn't matter. You pay for these seats. First off, you work hard to get these kind of seats, right? Now you want to be part of the game and everything like that. And you want to say your racial stuff. Like, granted, I understand it. It's intense. Everybody feels some type of way. But come on, dude. That's another person at the end of the day. Not going to say, oh, you're this and that and just get all racial about it. Like, no, chill. You could curse him out and be like, oh, F you, man. You got lucky. Whatever. Fine. That's normal. But then you start getting too personal to it. And then you're sending death threats because you decided to start him. At the end of the day, it's who you started in your fantasy team. So my hands go out to the Niner fans, honestly.
Okay. So I got 2 hands of the week. My first hands of the week are for you, man.
Oh, I was waiting for it.
Ever try to compare the picture you saw of Russell Westbrook wearing a white skirt. Don't you ever compare it to Roddy Piper, who wore Scottish garb to represent his homeland, to represent Scottish heritage. And you turn around and you say, well, Roddy Piper did it. That means it's cool. No, two different things. One is a fashion statement. Another one is a true culture. They're two different things. And me, as Scottish heritage, take offense to that because the only thing they probably had in common, and I said this in the comments, is they probably both went commando under it. That's the only thing they had in common with those pictures. So don't you ever try to bring out Roddy Piper in the same sentence with a man wearing a skirt. That man deserves a little more respect than that for the way he performed on the mic and performed in the ring.
I could apologize to you, for being a little ignorant about it. So I apologize for that.
I appreciate
it. But regarding Westbrook with the whole, that's fashion. At the end of the day, dude, there was I forgot. I saw a picture of, I think, Doja Cat. She had a chair on her head, upside down. That's fashion.
No,
I'm not into it. I'm hoodies. I enjoy my hoodies. It's hoodie season all year long.
Each his own. I do not knock him. If that's comfortable for him and that's how he feels good, that's fine.
Didn't in the early 90s Kurt Cobain rock the dress or skirt during the performance? Yeah. During the performance in Saturday Night Live, and then Kid Cudi did the same thing in remembrance to him.
You're forgetting the biggest one, Dennis Rodman.
My man was the bride.
He was his own bride, but he dressed up in dresses. He dressed up in full-on dresses, and nobody would go to his face and tell him what you wearing.
Just like they wouldn't go to Westbrook.
Man, exactly. So listen, I'm not knocking him. I'm knocking you for the comparison.
Okay.
I'm not knocking him. My second hands of the week goes out to the New York Mets organization for the way they handled the fans booing the way they were playing at that time. It came out from Javi Baez. It came out from Francisco Lindor that they were giving the thumbs down. And it was a response to fans booing them. My response to you as a fan, Javi Baez and Francisco Lindor and everybody else that was doing it, is I'm a fan of the sport. If you're going up there, and I'm not saying you're paid to entertain me, but you are paid to do a job. If your job is to go up there and to play at a certain level, right? And you're not doing that, me as the fan, me as the consumer, have the right to give you my reaction. When we go on Amazon and we purchase a product, if that product we thought was going to be 10 feet, large, a huge box, and it comes as 10 inches, no offense. Do we turn around and just let it go? Or do we make bad comments or bad reviews? The same thing goes in sports. No, it's not shut up and play mentality. It's you are paid as a professional to do a job. Your job is to play a sport, right?
Okay.
With that, if you're not performing well, just like in any of our jobs, your boss is going to bring you in and say, what's going on? We are technically the boss because we're the consumer. So I'm not saying I own a player. Let me make that clear. I'm saying in that analogy, we are the consumer, that if we see that you're not performing well, that we went from first place to fourth place within 3 weeks, we have the right to be disgruntled. We have the right to be upset. But for you to react that way, when you know yourself how you're playing, and then to go at fans like that, the fans are the ones that show up every night. The fans are the ones that are sitting there giving you the praise when they see you come out of the dugout, still cheering you, hoping you're going to do something. But you're damn right. They have the right to boo as well if you're not performing. If you're going 0 for 10, they have the right to boo you.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, Mike. We're emotional fans. Fans are emotion. There's emotions always. So yes, you have every right to come at Javier Baez, Francisco Lindor for performing badly. But if you're gonna call them emotional, you guys are emotional too, because the minute they did the thumbs down to you guys and had those comments, fans were going crazy. Fans were pissed off.
Yeah.
They're like, who are you to come at us? We're over here booing you because you're playing horrible.
But
right?
The thing is, right. But the thing is, and this is what players need to understand. And yes, players are human. The fans have always done this for years.
No, yeah, we know that.
That's one of the oldest pastimes is fans letting you hear it. And the commentators even say it. Oh, he struck out again. The fans are going to let him hear it. Because the fans are the ones that are essentially there every night watching a way a player plays.
Yeah, but they play fans or not. I mean, look at it last year. There was no fans in the crowd, and they still played.
And who were they missing? When they
Fans.
said, what were they missing? Exactly. So why are you going to go after your biggest consumer like that? I understand you might be emotional.
Because of a fan. Remember, Mike, every athlete is not the same. You can't expect them to be the same person.
No, of course.
And react to certain, like, hey, they're booing you because you're playing bad. So don't respond to them. Get better. Do better.
You don't think you think of yourself as Javi Baez and Francisco Lindor. You don't think that's going to have more of a negative effect? You're already being booed. I
probably would have stuck my middle finger at them and cursed them out. Like, yo, F y'all, don't cheer for me.
Right.
You hate me, right?
And you know what? If they're not doing well, and I'm going to tell you, this is the type of fan I am. I'm not going to cheer you if you get one hit after 20. I'm not going to cheer you. I'm going to mock you in the sense that, oh, great, you got one. But you got to show me, right? And I'm the type of fan you got to show me because I'm the fan of progression. I'm the fan of consistency. I need consistency. You haven't shown. Javi Baez is one to talk. He has not shown consistency at all since he came onto the Mets. He said he wanted to be on the New York Mets. He got traded because he wanted to play with Francisco Lindor.
Yeah, but
he's actually go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, remember during the trade deadline, the day of the trade deadline, and the news came out that you guys got Javi Baez.
Everybody loved it.
Every single Met fan went nuts. We got Baez.
But then what
He's
did he
gonna
do?
Come to us.
But then what has he been doing? He hasn't.
He's been stinking it up.
He's had glimpses. But there's no consistency. So as a fan, we have the right to be able to react a certain way. Listen, we're going into a new debate that we're going to be talking about at a different week. But for now, I think we're going to have to close this out. So, Manny, any final words?
Nah, I just want to say happy birthday to the boss, man. You know, shout out to every single person that views, watches, and even just watching any of the shows on the Sports Hit List. Carl has done amazing things. There's a great amount of individuals in this group. You know, you got Jarvis with the gray area and stuff. You have the Polius brothers and Declan with Smoke and Mirrors. You know, you have the B show coming back, I believe. The live show coming back as well, Wednesday live.
The NFL show.
Also and our show, of course, on Tuesdays. But I want to give a special shout out to every single person who either shares, comments, even post in the group alone in Sports Hit List. Honestly, like without you guys, we don't really get any stuff to talk about. You understand? We just go by what Twitter or what's the hottest trend and stuff. We try to do our own thing. But I want to shout out every single person that watches this, because being a part of the Sports Hit List for a few years, I love it. And just one more thing before I go, I just want to say happy belated birthday to your baby girl.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I want to wish the little one a happy birthday.
Thank
you.
And
to everybody that's working in schools and stuff, continue doing the best y'all can. I mean, it's a new year, so good luck.
And you know what, Manny, you said it absolutely right. I shout out everybody in the comments. I shout out everybody that likes, subscribes, and puts any type of content in the Sports Hit List, except for Eddie. But everybody that puts their effort and just puts anything in. Look at something as simple as Russell Westbrook in a skirt. How many comments, how many likes, how many discussions came out of just one picture? And that is what we do on a daily basis. when you look at a group of people that like to talk sports, that have different opinions, but all can come together on a common theme, and that's the love of sports, that is the fans that we call the sports hit list. We are fans first and foremost, but we do this for fans. All the shows, all the content, everything that you see is for us to be able to give you some of our opinion, but mostly because we want to put something out there to hear yours. We want to hear your opinion. We want to hear your thoughts, because at the end of the day, as I said before, and Manny tried to debate me, everybody see that, the fans are what matter. The fans' feelings, the fans' thoughts are what really matter sometimes in sports.
I got one more thing I forgot to mention. Travis McKay, he was talking smack about my Raiders week 1, and the finally the NFL show's back on Sundays, which I love. Shout out to those fellas. They were talking all this trash about my Raiders. Again, MVP Paul Lawson and myself went with the Raiders while everybody else went against me as usual, because I expected all season. And also to add, this is how perfect it was this weekend. Travis McKay played me in the Sports Hit List Fantasy
Football League,
and I destroyed this
shellacked
man
him
by like almost 83 points.
Shellacked him.
All right?
I saw that score. That was the
Let
best.
me tell you something, Travis. On Sunday, I expect an apology to the Raiders, to myself, and I expect you to admit defeat on that massive L you took on Sunday and Monday.
I'm gonna make it a step further. And Carl, I hope you're watching, or you watch the replay of this. And Travis, I'm looking straight at you. I've said it for about 2 years now. You say you're the NFL man. I'm challenging you to a pick-off every week for the rest of the season to really see who knows football. I started with NFL. I kind of moved over to other sports, but I want to see if you really got what it takes. You challenged Jamal last year. You make
did
some
he win?
outlandish picks, and I think Jamal won.
Did it Womack beat him?
Outlandish picks. So Travis, you talk a lot of smack about NFL being the best sport and you being the guru. Let's see it this week. And I'm calling the challenge. Carl, write it up. Challenge weekly on picks. Me versus you, Travis. And with that, he's Manny Schefter. I'm Mike Phillips. Have a great week. We'll see you next Tuesday at 5 p.m. This is